decide to change where I work, I have 600 friends, so I have 600 people sort of calling me out. So that idea of identity, whether it's you or your brand, is incredibly important. So this is slightly controversial. For a very, very long time, success has been measured by CTR. And that's something at Facebook that we are trying to move our clients away from. Because a click-through rate doesn't automatically mean engagement, doesn't mean that you're turning that person into a customer. So if you look at this chart, right, you can see the big clusters of dots. You know, right on top, you'll see one campaign that was run. That got a relatively low CTR, but really high conversion. Same thing with, if you look all the way to the right, really high CTR, but really, really low conversion. And that's just when you push out your messages, push out your ads, push out your posts, without really thinking about who you're talking to and what you want to say. Which is where we start to talk about reach, resonance, and results. So these are the three things. Whenever we sit with a client, this is the first three questions that we ask. Because a lot of the time, they're building this fan base without any real KPIs in mind. And when a client helps you to put together what they really want out of their strategy, it really helps us to get to that strategy. So reach is about, did I reach the right number of people at the right time, and are they my actual customer or my demographic audience? Resonance is, did I improve my brand's image while I was doing this? And then the last one is, did I cause a customer to react? Did I cause a customer to sign up for a referral, sign up for a service, make a referral, or buy my product? So I had mentioned that we have some clients that measure internally. Samsung is one of them. So they're a big global client for Facebook, and when they were looking to launch Samsung product, we worked very, very closely with them to make sure that those three metrics were looked at, talked about, and built towards. And we were incredibly happy when they came back to us and said, we had about $130 million worth of sales attributed to everything that they did on their Facebook page. They saw 13 times return on advertising spend and a 10-point lift in favorability. So it hit those three metrics that at Facebook we're completely obsessed about. And on that note, we have, are we going to skip this one? Okay. Okay, I think we're just going to summarize, and then we have Q&A.
Yes. Cool, so almost there. Thanks for staying awake early in the morning. So, okay, I'm going to use the mic because I'm crap at shouting. Okay, so just going to wrap up a summary and then head into Q&A. So I think the key point is that it is a big challenge, possibly the biggest challenge facing social marketers right now is how do I prove the ROI for what I'm doing, but it is possible. There are lots of ways that you can do that, and in fact it's a lot more measurable than many other channels. Some of the stuff that Sunita was talking about puts it in the space where it's comparable to things like television, print, and so on. You need to start thinking that, hey, if we can measure these things in this way, we can also measure social in that way. Why not look at brand indicators and so on? Why do we have to only look at things like click-through rate? And then, and of course, you have all these direct measurement ways that you can achieve things too. Also, social can be a unique source of brand value. So there's things that you can do in social to create brand value that you cannot do in other channels. If you're using those methods to actually improve your brand's bottom line, then you're creating new sources of brand value through social. And the last thing I want to say is be creative. So I don't mean like creative accounting. What I mean is be creative in the way that you think about creating value for your brand. As I said, it is a difficult, creating a measuring value in ROI in social is not a simple thing. And there may not be an out-of-the-box solution because every brand is different, and maybe what you want to do in social or the way you want to measure your brand's returns is unique either to your industry or even just purely to your brand. So you do need to be creative and think a little bit out of the box about how you can do that. Yeah, and so that is it. Thank you very much. Any questions? Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
I do have a question actually. So you know how you talked about a lot of what's to say, positive ROI from these examples. So you put out these campaigns, your sales went up and there were that many people engaging and so on and so forth. But we've all seen how you can sometimes have a negative response. So when your fan base starts talking to you about real stuff or negative stuff that's happened in your business or because of your business, then that must lead to some sort of negative ROI potentially, right? Like with Nestle or with BB or whatever they do with the palm oil, with the slick and whatnot. So how do you converse with, do you have an example of how you converse with these brands or how you bring them back? It must be an extra effort to come back to break even and then build your stuff again.
I think first of all, just to address the negative ROI component of that. Can you guys hear me at the back? Yeah, okay, cool. So I think, first of all, if people are saying negative things about your brand, they're going to say it whether or not you have a presence in social media. So if Nestle does something perceived bad, then people are going to bitch about Nestle quite happily on their own Facebook profile. They're going to set up pages saying, never buy anything from Nestle again. All of these things are going to happen anyway. Having your social media presence there means that you have a way to address that. So what that means is people will come to you and say, in Nestle, we don't like what we're doing. Nestle gets a chance to respond to that. And how they respond is sort of, that determines kind of the net effect of whether this is going to be a positive or a negative experience overall. So, that negative ROI that exists, but it's going to exist whether you're doing anything. If you're spending nothing in social and you have no response, I would argue that the net effect is much, much worse than if you're able to address that. And there's some really good examples, like just recently Burger King, their Twitter handle got hacked, right? And so this is a possibility. Somebody stuck up a McDonald's picture and said, hey, we've been sold to McDonald's. Next time you come to Burger King, enjoy a cheeseburger or something like that, right? So if they made it, that could have been really bad in the end if they'd handled it badly, and possibly for McDonald's too, because people could perceive that McDonald's had done something. Both of them responded pretty quickly, and they kind of did it well as well. Burger King kind of made it a bit tongue-in-cheek, said, hey, we're back, we didn't get sold to McDonald's, and I can't remember exactly what their response was. But generally, it's to see that they handled it really well. They had plans in place, and they executed them. So, the net effect is actually positive, I think.